look like a kid.
Yeah.
It was halfway buried. It's about this thick. It's about halfway buried. I pulled it up, unzipped it. I couldn't really see, and I opened it up and yeah.
I was just shocked. Like that's like crazy. Who can do something like that to some babies?
A man walked his dog past the same field every single day for a week with his dog barking, trying to tell him something. The day he finally listened, he dug out a suitcase, unzipped it, and found a young one's head staring back at him. Little did he know there was another body buried beside it. It was just past 6 in the evening on Monday, March 2nd, 2026 in Cleveland, Ohio, in a neighborhood called South Collinwood near East 162nd Street.
Part of the investigation led us to this home, and it's been a nonstop, ongoing investigation. Our homicide unit, it's often not said, but they have been working around the clock in this investigation.
A man named Philip Donaldson was out doing what he did almost every evening, walking his dog through the open field beside Saranac Playground, just across the street from Ginn Academy, a public high school. Nothing about that walk was supposed to be different from any other. Donaldson had actually walked past that same spot for at least a week, noticing a small mound of dirt near the fence line every time he passed. He figured it was garbage, maybe a dumped bag someone had left behind, because the area was already known as a place where people illegally dumped trash, and it barely registered as anything worth checking. But on this particular night, his dog stopped and would not move. She stayed there with her nose down, completely fixed on that mound of dirt, and no matter how many times he called her, she would not come. He went back to see what she was so locked onto, and what he found was a suitcase sitting partially buried in the ground with just the top edge sticking out. He pulled it up and unzipped it. In his own words, Donaldson later told reporters exactly what he saw when he opened that bag. It was like a pile of dirt, and she stopped to sniff, and I usually just walk and she'd catch up with me, and she was taking too long. So I went back and looked, and it was a suitcase that was half buried, and I pulled it up and looked in it, and it was a head. Somebody's head in it. He called 911 right away, and when officers got there and confirmed what was inside, detectives were called out to the scene.
How you doing, sir?
We're checking up right now.
Understood.
If you go, you can see the case from back here. It's all the way straight to the back.
Close to that sign?
Yeah, see the little black
Straight ahead in front of me? Okay.
Straight,
it's
yeah.
a suitcase?
It's a suitcase. I've been walking past it for about a week now because I
Okay.
take my dog. I stay right here. I take my dog. I usually walk her through there and then come around here.
Okay.
And for the last week, she's been stopped. It was like a mound of dirt. She's been stopped and sniffing like a little too long.
Okay.
And today I was like, well, I'm going to take it. I hope it's not what I'm...
Right.
And it was halfway buried. It's about this thick. It's about halfway buried. I pulled it up, unzipped it. I couldn't really see. And I opened it up. Yeah.
Buried under the dirt it was?
Yeah, halfway.
Okay.
You can see a little part of it sticking out.
And you said you noticed it for about a week already?
Yeah, it's been sitting over there. It's like somebody buried it or
Okay.
tried to bury it. And like I said, I walked my dog over there and she keeps stopping and she sniff a little too long.
Right.
You know, she sniffs stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Right.
I'm not going to with it. And today I was just like, let me see what that really is.
Okay.
It's back there.
All right,
I
I'll
pulled
go.
it up so it's kind of standing up and it stinks like hell.
Okay. You're right here at 670?
Yeah.
What was your name, sir?
Phyllis.
Philip? Okay. I will check it out. I'll be with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to have to look and see. I mean, it's like partially buried. He said it was sticking out for like a week. He finally decided to open it up. I just want to see. Can you flash your light on? I just want to see if there's any or anything on it. No? Yeah. You on? You bring it closer. I can't see. Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah. I can't. It's attached. It's just like full in the fetal position.
While they were going through the area, they found a second suitcase approximately 20 to 25 feet away, also sitting in a shallow grave, also partially buried, and also with a body inside. 2 young ones buried in 2 separate suitcases, yards apart in a field right next to a school in a neighborhood where families walked and kids came out to play. Both bodies were badly broken down from decay, which told detectives right away that these children had not been placed there recently. They had been in the ground for some time, weeks at minimum, possibly a lot longer. Cleveland Police Chief Dorothy Todd spoke to the public the following afternoon and called the scene a terrible, horrific situation, saying it was traumatic for everyone and that these children had been found right at the community's doorstep.
Are there missing persons, missing children that match the 2 girls that were found?
So it's a good question. We have checked our, locally, we have no reports of any missing children that match these identifications. We are checking statewide as well. We also have the assistance from our federal, state, and local partners. This is a priority. This is a traumatic event for our officers, for the community. And, this is just such a tragic incident. But we are trying to develop any leads we can. That's why we're also asking for the community's help.
She confirmed there was no danger to the public, but made clear that her department was moving fast, pulling surveillance footage, going door to door in the neighborhood, and reaching out to state and federal partners to see if the children matched any missing persons cases. At that point, all they could say was that the victims were young girls, children.
I was just shocked. Like, that's like crazy. Who can do something like that to some babies?
Councilman Michael Polensik says he wants accountability for whoever did this and justice for these girls.
What kind of monster demon would do this? The 2 just throw them away like they're garbage. No, not here. Not in Collinwood. No, that don't happen. We're not going to put up with that. We want resolution. We want these 2 children. There's got to be justice for these 2.
A somber reminder of where the remains of the girls were found. This small memorial showing that the community will not let them be forgotten.
This obviously is difficult in terms of the ages of the victims, and it's no secret that it touches our hearts. Our officers are human just like everyone else, and they're their parents, their grandparents, and it affects them as well, which is, it goes to say that they're committed to resolving this as quickly as possible.
And the names of the 2 girls found deceased have not yet been released. Cleveland police say this investigation is ongoing. Reporting in Cleveland, Caitlin McCarthy, 19 News.
And here's the thing that should stop you cold for a second. Nobody in that neighborhood had reported 2 children missing. Not one person had called in an alarm about 2 little girls who were suddenly no longer around. These children lived in that area. Their mother lived in a house directly across from the field where their bodies were found. And somehow, life had just gone on as if they were never there.
Let's bring in now anchor Damon Maloney. Damon, I know you were out there in the neighborhood with Jonathan as well, talking with people who, as you can imagine, this is so deeply unsettling, right outside your home.
And right now, not a lot of answers from authorities. And Katie, the fact that we're talking about 2 young girls found in this manner, it is sparking a different level of anger. People living and working in that South Collinwood community, they hope that there can be some measure of justice, and quickly.
Right around the corner from me, yes, very much concerning.
James Buchanan is struggling to understand how the 2 young girls could have ended up in the neighborhood he's called home for 29 years.
It's just crime everywhere. I don't know what we're going to do better, but we got to do something soon.
I saw police at the crime scene up until about noon, next to Ginn Academy.
Well, my son called me this morning, telling me what was going on.
The visuals and trickle of information about the case A chilling reminder of how deeply crime ripples across a community. Erica Allen's son asked to be picked up from school early, which she came to do.
I just want to keep him in a bubble, but you can't do that.
And as I drove around the neighborhood, there were a lot of businesses.
I feel kind of messed up because it's too young from what I heard.
Alan Harrison owns Al's Home Repair, and he too showed up to Ginn Academy to pick up his grandson early.
He, didn't feel comfortable being in the school today.
Alan told me with so many businesses in the area, he is hoping that they might be able to provide footage that could potentially help police.
There's a lot of cameras, so hopefully something like that can help.
While many questions remain, everyone I spoke with agreed that the young girls deserve someone fighting for them nonstop. And they want anyone with information to do the right thing and share it with police.
You hope police are able to piece this together and bring some closure to the families?
Yes. I hope so.
Now, we spoke about those cameras at businesses potentially being able to help, but as I was out going around that community today, I also noticed many homes with surveillance cameras, so check them. Take a moment, check them. If anything looks out of the ordinary, just any little thing, be sure to contact police. They need some leads in this case, and you potentially could have some answers to help them carry out their work.
Detectives moved quick, though. Within about 48 hours of finding those suitcases, they had built up enough evidence to get a search warrant for a home in the 700th block of East 162nd Street, and they moved on it. Inside the home, they found a young girl, alive and unhurt, and they found Aaliyah Henderson, 28 years old, the mother of all 3 children. She was taken in that same night and booked into the Cuyahoga County Jail just before 8:30 that Wednesday evening. DNA testing by the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office later confirmed what detectives already suspected. The 2 girls in those suitcases were Henderson's own daughters, Amore Wilson and Mila Chapman, half-sisters with different fathers, both belonging to the same woman who had been living just a few steps away from where their bodies had been put in the ground. Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb released a statement in the days that followed, saying the city loves and protects its young people and that the loss of these 2 children was unimaginable. The county put out something similar, calling it a tragedy for the families and the whole community.
You're shaking up right now.
You look like a kid.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking body cam video of an unthinkable crime. The bodies of 2 young half-sisters found partially buried in suitcases on the city's east side. It is a story 19 News has been covering extensively all week. Thanks for joining us for the news at 10 o'clock. I'm Chris Fry. We've learned the little girls' names are Mila Chapman and Amore Wilson. The suspect, 28-year-old Aaliyah Henderson, charged with aggravated. She'll be in court tomorrow. Michelle Nix tonight with the breaking developments.
Mila Chapman and Amore Wilson. That's Mila laying down on the bed, Amore sitting up right next to her. Young faces of innocence, now the unthinkable victims of a heinous crime in Cleveland. Mila's father, Deshaun Chapman, overcome with grief, realizing he'll never hold his daughter again, asks that we not show his face.
I've been looking for my daughter for 5 years. I've been calling CPS, going to the courts, trying to get emergency custody, calling the police for welfare checks, but they denied all access.
The 2 sisters' bodies were found in 2 suitcases, partially buried in shallow graves behind Ginn Academy. A man walking his dog on Monday made the horrific discovery.
You're shaking up right now.
Understood.
If you go, you can see the case from back here.
Police arrived to find 1 suitcase partially buried with a young curled up in a fetal position. A stone's throw away, another suitcase, a second. But around-the-clock police work led Cleveland detectives to a home on East 162nd Street Wednesday, where they issued a search warrant, the location just feet away from where the bodies were found. Within less than 48 hours, 28-year-old Aaliyah Henderson, who lives at the home, was arrested, booked into the jail, now officially charged with 2 counts of aggravated. The youngest child's father, Deshaun Chapman, seething with raw emotion.
What I'm feeling is hate. I ain't gonna lie, I feel hate. But I asked you numerous occasions, just give me my daughter. If it's too much for you, just give me my daughter. I just want my daughter.
When Cleveland police arrested Aaliyah Henderson on Wednesday, a third child was in the home, but we're told that child appeared to be okay. As for Henderson, the jail is her home for now. She's expected to make an appearance before a judge Friday morning, accused of 2 counts of aggravated for allegedly 2 young children. Reporting in Cleveland, Michelle Nix, 19 News.
Mayor Justin Bibb thanking CPD for their hard work in solving this case. He released a statement earlier today. It reads in part, quote, "We love and protect our young people, and the loss of these 2 children is unimaginable. Our hearts are with everyone who is grieving this tragedy," end quote. And the county also releasing a statement. It reads in part, "We are profoundly saddened by the deaths of these 2 young girls, which is a tragedy for their families and our entire community." Stick with 19 News for continuing coverage on this disturbing investigation.
But grief was not the only thing people in Cleveland were feeling, because they were also starting to ask a question that this case makes very hard to avoid. How long had those girls been in the ground, and was there ever a real chance to save them before it got to this? The answer to that second question is more painful than most people were ready for. Aaliyah Henderson was born Aaliyah Bronick on October 10, 1997. She legally changed her last name to Henderson in 2017, and no court filing or public record has ever explained why she made that change. She had lived in Cleveland her whole life, and before March of 2026, she had no criminal record at all, prior arrests or history of any kind of violence on paper. Back in March of 2019, she and her mother, Leigh Bronick, were featured in a story by Cleveland.com about a university hospitals program called Rainbow Connects, which was designed to connect low-income families with support during their children's medical visits. There's a photo from that day showing Henderson holding a young Amore Wilson while her mother held a baby, Mila Chapman. During that visit, Henderson specifically asked for help getting baby clothes, furniture, and diapers. By every outward appearance, she was a young mother trying to do right by her kids. That photograph, taken 7 years before those same daughters were found in suitcases in the ground, is now part of the public record of a murder investigation. Henderson had been kicked out of a previous apartment on Park Hill Avenue in 2022 after she stopped paying rent from September through November of 2021. The paperwork from that address listed her living there with 2 young girls whose ages matched Amore and Mila at the time. After that, she moved to the 700th block of East 162nd Street in South Collinwood, the same home where police would find her surviving daughter. It is the same home where you could step outside the front door and look straight across at the field where the other 2 had been buried. Neighbors who talked to reporters after her arrest described a woman who kept to herself in a way that felt wrong, not just private, but off. One woman who shared a building with Henderson told News 5 that she had personally called Child Protective Services on Henderson at some point because she was worried about the way she was behaving and felt something was not right with her mentally. In February of 2026, just weeks before those bodies were found, a neighbor had gone to the police and filed a report saying Henderson had been following her, threatening her, and showing up and sitting on her front porch uninvited for roughly a year. No charges came out of that complaint. Henderson had separately reported to police that the same neighbor had stolen packages from outside her home on 2 occasions. None of it was serious enough to bring anyone's attention to what was happening with the children inside. Now this is where the story takes a turn that genuinely does not let you go. Mila Chapman's father is a 30-year-old man from Cleveland named Deshaun Chapman. He and Henderson were never married, and they lived together for about a year after Mila was born, around 2017. However, when that relationship ended, Henderson cut him off completely. He says she kept moving around with the kids so that every time he tried to track them down, the trail went nowhere. The last time Deshaun Chapman actually saw Mila alive was in 2020 when she was just a toddler and he helped buy her clothes for her first year of school. He described her as happy-go-lucky, always smiling, with pink as her favorite color, a little girl who, in his words, swore she was a princess. After that visit, she was just gone from his life. The lawyers he paid told him that without a confirmed address for Henderson, there was nothing they could do for him. And because the children always seemed to have a roof over their heads and a bed when CPS made contact, they were never removed.
She is happy, always smiling, always cheesing. She was a kid's kid, girly girl, kid's kid.
He told me he's been trying to get custody of his daughter, who was about to turn 9, for 5 years, but hasn't seen her for 4, as the girl's mother, he said, was constantly moving.
In the last 5 years, I done had so many different lawyers. Even the lawyers couldn't get it. They told me if I don't have no address for it, there's nothing we can do.
He saw the story of the 2 girls found on the news, not knowing who they were.
Me and my friends was just talking about how the world's sad with these little girls they found. Come to find out, it's my daughter and another young lady that I was a part of her life too.
He said it was only when he heard the names of the victims, still unconfirmed by authorities, that he called the police tip line.
I contacted them, went up there at 7 in the morning to dot all the I's, cross the T's.
And submitted DNA sample, he said. Cleveland police did not respond to requests to confirm. He said his daughter and her half-sister had a special relationship.
She loved her sister. She loved her sister because I was around with her more. So she loved her sister like the typical big sister, little sister, you know, knit-knat, mess with her, annoy her, but they love each other. Just happy. Family. Yeah, just a family, just want to be happy.
And as we come out to live pictures of the growing memorial here at the site off East 162nd Street, and we want to mention again that the medical examiner has released the names of the victims. And Deshaun Chapman, the man who we were talking to there, is the father of 8-year-old Mila, but he said he was also very close with Amor. So this is hitting them all very hard right now. And Katie, I want to tell you that as we stand here, Cleveland police are back at the house going through where they made that arrest last night as this investigation continues.
Just wanted to be together, just wanted to be happy. Like he said, seeing their beautiful faces, John, it is just growing in pain for so many, including that father. Thank you for that perspective, John. And again, Cleveland police have charged Aaliyah Henderson with 2 counts of aggravated in the deaths of her 2 little girls. Community activists are organizing a vigil for Amor and Mila. It's planned for tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock at or near where they were found at East 162nd in Midland. We will be there for you and continue covering this story.
Detectives are now going back through all of those old court filings, CPS calls, and welfare requests as part of the wider murder investigation. And then there was something Chapman told reporters that hit people hard. He said Henderson at one point called him and directly threatened Mila over the phone, telling him to come get the child or she was going to hurt her. Chapman reported that threat and went to CPS about it. Nothing happened. And that call, that exact warning he gave the system years before his daughter ended up at a suitcase in the ground, is now being reviewed as part of a murder investigation.
I hate you. You selfish. You're a monster.
A man who says he's the father of one of the young girls found inside suitcases, partially buried in a field in Cleveland's Collinwood neighborhood, has strong words for the woman police say is responsible.
You had help. You had support. You didn't want to take it. She's at 100% fault, but the system at fault with her. They played a big part in the of these two children.
DNA testing revealed they were half-sisters.
I remember them building tents in the living room and making pallets on the floor and having a girls' night, just doing stuff like being kids.
Deshaun Chapman told 3 News he had been trying for years to gain custody. He says both fathers offered to take the girls in, but claim they were unable to locate the mother.
I love both of them. Both of them don't deserve this.
Police say detectives have recovered substantial evidence in the case. Cleveland City Councilman Mike Polensik, who represents the ward where this happened, says the arrest brings a small measure of comfort to the community.
The community is relieved but saddened. There's 2 young children that are gone. Their whole future is gone. We have no idea what happened, what they went through toward the end of their lives.
Polensik also noted the girls were allegedly homeschooled and lived in what appeared to be a well-kept house. But he says many questions still remain.
Hopefully now we can get to the bottom of what happened, exactly what happened here, and these can rest in peace.
Police say Henderson is facing 2 counts of aggravated. The cause and manner of the girl's deaths are still under investigation. Meanwhile, a child was located inside the home where Henderson was arrested and appeared to be in good health. The Department of Children and Family Services has since taken custody.
I just cannot imagine for this family. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Deshaun Chapman found out Mila was one of the girls in those suitcases on the night of March 4th, after Henderson's arrest, and he went straight to the memorial that had started growing near East 162nd Street, leaving flowers and talking to reporters while he was visibly falling apart with grief. Amor Wilson's father had also been trying to stay involved in his daughter's life over the years, though he has not spoken publicly as much as Chapman. On March 9th, exactly 1 week after the bodies were found, both fathers came together and organized a balloon release in the girls' honor. Pastor Kyle Early spoke on their behalf and told the crowd these were great fathers who had been quietly working together behind the scenes with one single focus, making sure their daughters got to rest in peace. The surviving little girl, whose name has not been made public, was placed into the care of the Cuyahoga County Department of Children and Family Services right after Henderson was arrested. Her father reportedly had not been in contact with her since she was a baby and is among those currently being looked at as part of the investigation's wider review of all family members, though no charges have been filed against anyone other than Henderson. As for how Amor and Mila actually died, that question has not been answered publicly yet. The Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner completed autopsies on both girls, but as of March 12, 2026, the official cause and manner of death have not been released because more testing is still being done and the grand jury process is ongoing. What investigators have confirmed is that the bodies were not cut up and that the level of decay showed the girls had been dead for a significant stretch of time before anyone found them. Aaliyah Henderson was formally charged on March 5, 2026, with 2 counts of first-degree felony aggravated murder, 1 count for each daughter. Prosecutors say she knowingly and on purpose caused their deaths, then put their bodies into separate suitcases and buried them in shallow graves outside. Her first time in court was on the morning of March 6th at Cleveland Municipal Court in front of Judge Jeffrey Johnson. The hearing was short. The prosecutor asked for nothing less than $2 million in bond. The public defender who was representing Henderson at that point told the judge she had only been locked up for 3 days, had lived in Cleveland her whole life, was looking for work, had a place to stay, and had never been charged with anything violent in her life. The judge heard all of that and still set the bond at $2 million. Henderson said nothing the whole time. She sat there in a navy sweatshirt, completely blank on her face, and did not enter any kind of plea. The case was sent up to the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas.
The very first case the judge is Aaliyah Henderson. She has 2 counts of aggravated.
Good morning, Ms. Henderson. All right, so we're going to first hear from, regarding your bond, we're going to first hear from the prosecutor from the state and regarding charges against you, charges that you are presumed innocent, on charges that allow for you to have an attorney without costs. And after we hear from the prosecutor, we'll hear from your attorney, okay? Madam Prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, this is an allegation of in 2 separate charges. It's alleged in this matter that the defendant did cause the death of her 2 daughters. The charges in this case, I would ask for nothing less than a $2 million bond.
Madam Public Defender.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Henderson is waiving the preliminary hearing on both cases, and I asked for the most reasonable bond you can give her. Right. I have. I just said, yeah.
Let's go over that. So, no history of violence. History 1-1, no history of violence, no convictions, no charges. Given the nature of the allegations, as well as my concern for the safety of the public, we will deal, the bond will be $2 million.
Her second court appearance came on March 11th, this time through a video screen from the county jail in front of Judge Shannon Gallagher. And before that hearing even got going, something unexpected happened that turned into its own whole thing. The public defender's office wanted to represent Henderson in the murder case because they were already handling a separate family court matter involving the custody of her surviving daughter. They felt it made sense to keep the same legal team involved across both cases. The prosecution disagreed strongly and said the public defender's office was reaching for a high-profile case outside of the normal assignment process. The public defender fired back, saying it was completely normal for their office to request assignment in cases like this, especially when they already had a connection to the person through another court matter, and that the whole point of keeping the same team was to give their client the best possible support. Judge Gallagher went against the public defender and appointed 2 private attorneys to handle the murder case, one of them being attorney Kevin Spellacy. The public defender's office kept the separate family court matter involving the surviving child. After the hearing, the public defender's office put out a written statement saying it was wrong for the prosecution to get involved in something that was not their call to make, and that how the whole situation was described showed a basic misunderstanding of what a public defender's office is even there to do.
All right, Ms. Henderson, your case is being referred to the grand jury at the request of the state of Ohio. I will assign 2 attorneys to represent you. I'm assigning attorney Nancy Jameson and Kevin Spellacy. Your bond is set at $2 million, cash, surety, or property. Good luck to you. Thank you.
The bond stayed at $2 million. The case was officially sent to the grand jury. As of March 12, 2026, no indictment has come back yet, and no new court date has been set. Cleveland Ward 10 Councilman Mike Polensik went to the vigil on March 6th near where the bodies were found and said what happened was proof that the devil is among us. That is the kind of thing someone says when they cannot find any other words for what they are looking at.
What kind of monster demon would do this to 2 children? Just throw them away like they're garbage. No, not here. Not in Collinwood. No, that don't happen. We're not going to put up with that. We want resolution. We want these 2. There's got to be justice for these 2.
There's actually another case from New Zealand that people have brought up in connection with this story because it's the closest known example of something this similar. In 2022, the bodies of 2 young girls, Yuna Jo and Minu Jo, were found in storage units inside a storage unit in Auckland after their mother, a woman named Hak-Yong Lee, stopped paying the fees on the unit and the contents were sold off. Lee killed both young ones back in 2018, about 7 months after their father died from cancer, by mixing a prescription drug into their drinks while they slept. She then wrapped each young one in plastic bags, put them in separate suitcases, sealed them up with tape, and paid to store them in that unit. After that, she flew business class back to South Korea, changed her name, and spent years living her life before authorities tracked her down, got her extradited, and put her on trial. In November of 2025, a New Zealand court gave her life in prison with a minimum of 17 years before she could even be considered for release. The Henderson case is not identical to that one. The method was different, the location was different, and Hak-Yong Lee at least had something that investigators could point to as the breaking point in her life. With Henderson, there is still no known reason, no confirmed cause of death, and no public explanation for any of it. But what both cases share, and what makes them both so hard to sit with, is the choice that came after. Not just what was done to the children, but the decision to keep living normally once it was done. Hak-Yong Lee got on a plane and built a whole new life while her kids were sitting in a storage unit. Aaliyah Henderson, based on everything investigators found, appears to have walked past that field every single day. Deshaun Chapman put it straight in one of his interviews. "I don't get how you can hate your kids enough to kill them, to bury them and go right there to that home, right there and live there when your kids are right here." And he said something else that deserves to be taken seriously, not just brushed off as pain talking. He said this whole thing didn't have to happen, that if the courts had just listened to him, if someone had simply handed him his daughter in any one of the 5 years he spent asking for her, Mila would still be here. That's where this case stands right now. The grand jury is expected to take it up in the coming weeks. The medical examiner's report on how the girls died is still being processed. The investigation into the wider family is still going. And somewhere in Cleveland, a little girl who grew up in that house is now in state care, still too young to fully understand what happened to her sisters or to the mother who was supposed to protect all three of them. What do you think about this case? Let me know what you think in the comments section. Also, click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.